On December 20th, 1606, 104 English settlers set sail on 3 ships to the New World. This voyage was led by Captain John Smith, who was hired by the Virginia Company. The Virginia Company also funded the whole expedition. The voyage lasted 5 months, and the colonists ran into very few problems during the trip. They were mostly nervous because they didn't know what to expect when they got to their destination. The English settlers arrived on May 14th, 1607. They touched shore in Virginia on Senecomaca, land of the Powhatan tribe. The Powhatan tribe was led by Chief Powhatan. Powhatan was a very successful leader that expanded his empire to 8,000 square miles and nearly 14,000 people. The settlers went in search for land that was not already inhabited. They also had to meet the requirements of the Virginia Company, who told the colonists that they had to be far from the ocean, close to a deep water anchorage, and they were not to offend the natives.
They settled on the James Peninsula on the southern fringe of the Chesapeake Bay. The new land met all the requirements from the Virginia Company. It was 35 miles from the ocean, it had a deep water channel that was so close to the shore that the ships could be tied to trees, and no natives lived there. But there was a reason why no natives lived there. The land was not good land to live on. It was marshy, mosquito-ridden, and there was no fresh water. But it was what they had to work with, and the colonists started to build. The result was a type of fort that was triangular with a tall fence made of tree trunks. The settlement had houses near the walls, with more community buildings toward the center. This is a picture of the type of house that would be in Jamestown. Nearly half of the colonists had died by the end of September from the contaminated water supply, and now the colonists had to face a bigger challenge, winter. They tried to trade the Powhatan Indians, but were mostly unsuccessful in getting food. Because of the drought that year, the Powhatan didn't want to trade away their only food. By January, only 38 settlers were alive. Barely. Captain John Smith stepped up and was able to get enough food from the Powhatan to survive the rest of the winter. In the early spring, 2 more convoys from England arrived at Jamestown, increasing the population to 200. Even though Jamestown was nearly defenseless, the Powhatan didn't attack them. Chief Powhatan figured that their trade was valuable enough to let them live on the unusable land, and Powhatan also thought that the colonists would eventually die off. Now the colonists faced an even greater challenge, starvation. They had little to no food, and many people died. It got so bad that they would dig up the graves of the dead and eat whatever was left of them. They made it through the harsh winter again, and now John Rolfe arrived from England. When he got to Jamestown, only 60 people had survived the winter and the starving time.
By the time John Rolfe arrived, 6,000 English had come to Jamestown, and 3 out of 4 had died. John Rolfe married Chief Powhatan's daughter, Pocahontas, after she saved him from being executed. Rolfe was the first European to successfully grow tobacco in the New World. Rolfe's success made the Virginia Company very land-hungry to make more plantations for his tobacco. This made the Powhatan very unhappy. On March 22nd, 1622, the Powhatan launched an attack on Jamestown, killing a quarter of the population. This started a 10-year war between Jamestown and the Powhatan until a truce was made. Eventually, the Powhatan died from disease and were nearly wiped completely out of Virginia. In 1624, the Virginia Company lost title to the colony to the Crown of England, making Jamestown a royal colony. From there on out, Jamestown was a dominant colony in Virginia.